And hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. So I've been getting complaints from everywhere, and by everywhere I mean my boss as well as my editor, saying I speak too fast when teaching everyone how to code. So this is going to be my attempt at trying to talk a little bit slower so everyone can understand. So let's hope it works, because I think I start talking very fast because whenever I watch a tutorial or a video, I watch it at times 2 speed. And when I kind of mimic what I see in videos to teach what I teach in my videos, I also tend to try and go times 2 speed, but that's not from the YouTube speed settings, that's from actually me. So I'm going to try and talk a bit slower and maybe just walk through things slower. So in this tutorial, we are going to look at images in Tkinter. So first, let's start with importing. So from, and here we can say Tkinter import star, because we want to import everything from Tkinter. And then we want to say root is equal to tk and root.main loop, which basically just allows us to run the program. So if we say Python and we say main.py, then here we go, we get a little window. So whilst we are going to stick on the topic of images, I also want to include two other things we can talk about. So first off, I want to change this right here. You see that TK, I want to change that. Now, a way we can do this is we can go here to root and we can say root dot title, and this will allow us to change the title of our window. So here I can say images, images in, Tkinter. Okay, they just ignore all of the grammar errors I have. And now if we do this, images in Tkinter, yeah, that is about what we want. We have a little title here now. So that's pretty neat. Now that we have that, I also want to talk about adding an exit button to our whole thing we have here, because sometimes you have a program but you want it to have a dedicated exit button, so a quit button. So I'm going to say btn and exit. I'm going to make that equal to a button, and here I'm going to add it to root, and I'm going to make the text equal to quit app. And in here I just want to say btn exit, and I'm going to place this, go here, dot grid, and I'm going to place this on column 1 of row 1. This is just personal preference of where I want it. You can make yours anywhere, and we're going to add things before this column and row later, so just so you know. And here we go, now we have a quit app button. Problem is, if we try and click that, we don't actually quit the program. So let's try and actually add that functionality. Now it is fairly simple to do that. We can just say command is equal to root.quit. Now basically, and take note, you shouldn't add these here, because otherwise you're going to execute it before you actually, anyhow. So this basically kind of just quits the program. It tells root to quit, and as we know, root is the process that's basically keeping everything alive. So if we tell it to quit, it's going to basically be like this exit button right there. So now if we were to run it, we can just go here, and if you say quit app, then it actually quits the app. So that's one thing you can do to quit the app. So now we can actually get to the actual part of this video, images. So first we need to install something before we can just work with images. It's a simple pip install pillow, and take note here, I'm using a capital P here for pillow. This will install the PIL or pill library, and it allows us to just work with images. And I already have it installed, so requirement already satisfied. Anyhow, so this allows us to work with images. So we can just say from PIL import, and we want image tk as well as image. If you don't know how to work with the pill library, I believe I do have a course on it on my channel. And even if you don't know it and don't really want to know it, it's not really required that much, because the basics is all you need to know. So here we can just say image is equal to image tk, which we imported from here. And inside of that, we can, or not inside of that, we can just say dot photo image. And this means we're going to try and bring in a photo. Now, if I were to show you what I have in my folder here, I have a folder called images, and inside of that I have an image called image.png. To keep things simple, make sure your image is .png or .jpg or JPEG. And yeah, once you have that, then yeah, I'll just have this very basic image, which I quickly created in GIMP. Now that we have that, we can go here and say in parentheses image dot open, and take note we got image from here, and then we can say images, because I have it in my images folder. If you don't have it in your images folder, you don't have to say images here. Then slash image.png. So we're saying, let's just go like that. So we're saying, okay, go look inside the images folder. So there, images folder, that is this part right here. Go look for the image.png, and take note the extension does matter. If you're going to say .jpg but it's actually a .png, we're going to have problems where it doesn't know what image to really load, because those two would be different images. Anyhow, and we're just saying, okay, open that image for us. And now we have to actually put the image on the entire thing here. But the problem is, by default, Tkinter does not really support just putting an image on it. But there's a way around it by putting the image inside of a label. So we can just say lbl image is equal to label, which is attached to root, with the image of img. So we're attaching this image to image here. Now here we can say lbl image dot pack dot grid, and I'm going to say row is equal to 0 and column is equal to 0, and then I'm going to say col span. It is col span, right? Let me just check here. I believe it is. It's either col span or column. No span. It's one of these two. I believe it's col span, but who knows? And we can say 2. Let's see if it runs. Then we have the right one. No, I don't want to install pillow. Let's see, and there we go. So we have a row span here, and we have a column span. So it's not an underscore. So not an underscore. Cool. So what we're saying here, because I don't think I have talked about column span yet. Now, column span basically means span more than one column. So our image can span up to 2 columns, because as we remember, we have rows and we have columns. I believe the sideways is rows and this is columns. Anyhow, so actually I can open up my draw application here, and I can draw it so you can actually understand what I'm talking about. So we have our rows and our columns. So if we go like this and like this. So as we know, these that go that way are known as rows. So this would be row 1, row 2, row 3. The ones that go that way is known as a column. So this would be column 1, column 2, column 3. Or actually it starts at 0. But I believe that we do get the point here. Now if we say column span of 2, now by default everything takes one column. So the image would have been in here. So that's where the image would have been. But because we say column span 2, we're basically saying, okay, these two are now becoming one column because it's spanning over 2 columns. But take note, everything below it still has the normal amount of columns. It's just this one that has 1 column now. That's the width of 2 columns. So that's basically what we're saying. So if we say a column span of 2, we're just saying, okay, this image can now span 2 columns. Okay, so I believe we have the idea here. And we just basically grid everything and we use, what did I get wrong? I forgot to save, that's what I got wrong. Okay, now let's try and run it. And here we go, we have a little application. And as you can see, it spans 2 columns. You might not notice it spanning 2 columns, but it actually is because this quit app is not here. If it was here, then because here we're saying it should be at column 1 and row 1. So if we're looking at this here, it's at column 1, not 0, so this is column 0, and row 0, and this is row 1, column 1, and as you can see here. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult to actually notice, but yeah. And this is just image, so we added the image. Of course, we can make this image a bit smaller if we wanted to, and stuff like that, but we can just stick with the basics for right now to keep everything as simple as possible. But if you want to know how to make this image smaller, I do believe the pill library has everything already there for you, so you can just use that to resize the image to a size that you are comfortable with. But I think this is far enough for today's video, where I showed you how to not only add a title and an exit button to your application, but also an image. So now you know how to do these things, which is pretty neat. If you did enjoy this video, please feel to like and subscribe. And then I will see you all again in the next Tkinter tutorial.